and such. And then your community resources. Each of these that I've listed here can provide you with different information. Extension can provide you with growing information and a lot of help one-to-one. Natural Resource Conservation Service will help you with a lot of different conservation issues. They have a hoop house project right now, so do connect with them. Soil and water conservation districts. Small Business Development Center, they are awesome in terms of one-on-one consultations about developing your business plan, and they also do a lot of classes that I highly recommend to help get you farther along in the business. Farm Service Agency is where you go to get loans, and there is a small and beginning farmer loan now, microloans that they have available, so that is a possibility as of I think last year. So check out those if you need to explore that. And then banks can also be a community resource, and there are many others. If you have a small farm organization in your area, get involved with them. There's many other community resources that you should be checking out. Okay, our assignments for this week, assignments 5 and 6, I already kind of told you about assignment 6 is your map. Assignment 5 is taking all of the things I just went through and getting them down on paper. We have put on there an optional worksheet, and that's Farm and Ranch Resource Evaluation Worksheet, and it's very long. It's, I think, probably 8 pages of going through every that I just went through, all soils, and your land and community resources, market resources. All of those are on a different page. But this, what we decided to do is just give you kind of a summary of existing resource assessment, and this is more helpful because it gives you opportunity to put on what are the capacity and the strengths of your human resources, your natural resources. So it's kind of a summary of what you have, and then what is the limitations related to those different resources, and what are some possible solutions. You can put anything you want in notes, but it's where you put, oh, got to get my soil tested, or you know, this building might be useful in some other capacity, maybe a chicken coop, or, you know, so you write notes to yourself. These tools are all for you. We're just checking them just as a process as we go through the class to see if you're keeping up and doing this, because that's what this class is meant to help you do. So that's what you've got for this week, and next week we'll be working on your enterprise identification. I told you every week we try to have the whole farm plan up here to show you, and this is where the second part of that you covered this week goes into the second part of the whole farm plan template. And are there any questions before we go on to Melissa and Jessica?
We do have several questions, Cinda. So the first one is about the soil bulletins and how do you obtain them, and then approximately how much do soil tests cost?
Oh, good questions. Soil test at the U of I, to do the basic, which was what I listed, nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, organic matter, and pH, is $35. And you would do that you do one test for each area. So if you're going to have fruit crops in one area, and over here you're going to have vegetables, use those as 2 different areas. And if you have different areas of property that you think are very different, even if you're going to use them maybe for the same crop, you might do them separately. So kind of get a sense. That bulletin, I am sorry I didn't put the website on there. I thought I was doing that, but I guess I forgot. The College of Agriculture at the University of Idaho has a catalog, so you go into the U of I and go to Outreach and Extension, and then you can find the University of Idaho College of Agriculture catalog, and that will get you to all of the resources, publications they have, including the soil testing. You can also just take the name of that publication and just add U of I on the end of it, and it should lead you directly to that publication.
Thanks,
Hopefully
Cinda.
that helps.
Yes, and I want to remind everyone that I sent out a handout with the slides from today's webinar, so you'll have the name of the publication in there, and I will also go online and find the link and post it like I've been posting a couple other links tonight. Cinda,
Sure.
related to the soil testing, what if somebody has 80 acres and they're going to use it for one purpose, let's say for pasture? How would they approach soil tests on that much land?
Yeah, well, they would do it throughout if they were going to put the 80 acres into the same thing, then they should do a sample. They can do, well, I would do actually more than one sample, because I can't envision that whole 80 acres would probably be the same. They might want to break it at least into two sections, but that's where I would use a slope of land. You know, like if there's a low area, I would do that separate from the higher areas. So the book on soil testing kind of gives you some ideas on how to scope out how many you should do. So I would get that publication, but you kind of have to use, you know, your land variation to kind of get an idea of that. But I would do at least two, if not three.
Okay, great, thank you.
Anything
Another
else?
question we have is, why did hardiness zone maps change in 2012?
That's a good question. You know, I really don't know why they changed. They set it up a little bit differently. Maybe there were, you know, so many variations that they made it a little bit more standardized. So, but I don't really know that. They just updated it in 2012. It hasn't changed ours too much, maybe a little bit. I always looked at Moscow as being in like zones 4 to 5, and it actually lists us at 6. And so if you, my only confusion would be if I was going to get nursery plants, and I just don't know if all the nurseries are, you know, using tags on their plants on when, you know, the hardiness zones, if they've actually changed those. So I would check that out. You might have to look at the old hardiness zone map, or just, you know, make sure that you know about the if the nurseries are using older ones or not, because I don't know that myself. Sorry.
We have another question, and it's about growing degree days. And for those in the audience, Jessica did put out an answer and referenced Wikipedia, and I put out another link that explains growing degree days. But the question, Cinda, was, a year has 365 days, so where do the 1,000 degree day data come from?
Oh, they're hours. I'm sorry. They're hours, not, they're hours above of temperatures above 50 degrees.
Okay.
So, and maybe some of those resources that you put out there, and I've got other resources too that I could post on the site about growing degree days.
Okay, that would be great. I did notice on some of the websites that they also call it growing degree units, which makes it a little less confusing than calling it days. Okay.
Yes. Oh, and the other thing I should say about growing days is that they're also used for pest management because there's formulas for a lot of the insect pests and when they hatch related to growing degree days. They call it degree days rather than growing degree days. But just to let you know that there is pest management strategies based on degree days. And why they call it degree days, I don't know. It's based on hours. Okay.
Okay, thanks. I just want to also point our participants today to the question pane because both Lorraine and Ursula have posted some good information about thinking about your market and your community and where you can get information on demographics. So those are all the
Very
questions
good.
and
Yes.
comments that we have right now. So thank
Good.
you.
Yeah. It's time to move on to our guest speakers. Well, they're not really guests. They're part of the family here. And Melissa, I'd like to turn it over to you.
Okay, Cinda, thank you. Okay, everybody, glad to see you tonight. I'm Melissa Lyons, and I'm trying to move the slides forward. Hang on just a second, okay? But just to give you a little review, as I said last week, I am the livestock person in this team, and I've been raising sheep for 20 plus years now. And I currently farm outside of Moscow, Idaho. My farm is 65 acres, and I've run as many as almost 100 ewes, and more recent years, 40 to 50 breeding ewes. And I market wool, breeding animals, meat, livestock guardian dogs, and educational experiences. So I think Cinda gave a wonderful overview of the kinds of resources we all need to think about in great detail before we start a venture. And I had the good fortune to take a wonderful class some years ago, which helped me get focused on what exactly I wanted to raise and how I was going to do it. So what I'm going to do is go over almost all of the topics she brought up and just talk to you a little bit about how those resources applied to me. And Cinda, I'm sorry you guys for talking technology, but Cinda, I cannot make the slides change. Could you